Coach, can I bother you one more time this week? Thank you very much. So, Rob St. Clair from Volleyball Source with head coach John Speraw of the United States after a 3-1 loss to Brazil. I think the right place to start after a match like that, kind of the way everything went down, is with the bigger picture. The bigger picture of this summer, given who we saw out there tonight and how those guys played, how would you assess that only kind of minutes after the game just ended?
I thought they played quite well in certain stretches. First of all, it's Micah Ma's first time getting out there in a while, and I think he hasn't had that much opportunity to play and set, particularly TJ DeFalco and Aaron Russell. So I know there was some misconnects there, and I really wanted to get into that second set because I thought we got a little bit better on some connection things. There were some really just some tempo issues. Yeah. Where am I going to be relative to this set that needed to be communicated? So the second set showed that. I mean, we played much better. I need to go back and really look at that service run early in the third set that just crushed us. And that I don't know. I have to go back and watch the sequence of events there that really hurt us. And then you're looking out there and you're just sensing some fatigue. Probably it was already there. It was a bit of a decision to even start TJ and Aaron in the beginning.
Fair enough.
Just because, especially the tight turnaround.
Less than 24 hours.
Yeah, so maybe I waited a little too long there, but at that point that set was probably lost, and so put in the other outside hitters, and I thought they did real well. I thought late in that set we're in it, and it's interesting what's going on. I mean, I just had some meetings with some people here, and they admitted to missing a call there, so we're going to have to chat about that. It was pretty critical.
I wanted to ask about that. I assume you're talking about the Jake Haynes serve.
Yes, I am.
So we saw, in case the people didn't watch, we in the house saw the baseline camera view. We didn't see like the Bolt 6 Hawkeye, whatever it is. We didn't see that. We saw a camera view that really looked like that ball was in. Yeah. And I don't know what the refs saw. What did they communicate to you? Or whatever you're able to share at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm able to I don't listen, they communicated that a mistake was made. I don't. So what happened with Bolt 6? By the way, Bolt 6 is great.
Yeah.
Everybody else is avoiding the conversation, and I just wanted somebody to say, okay, what happened? How are we going to solve the problem? And the only people that were saying that was not the referees. It was Bolt 6. So I even though there was a mistake made, at least Bolt 6 owned it, which I very much appreciated. Totally. And so the ball was in, and somehow with the timing, there wasn't enough time to process that because one of I don't know, there's some technical stuff there. And so there needs to be some conversation about, in those instances, can we get a challenge back for in-out? Yes. Can there be a way to tell the referee to pause and let the system work? Because there was some sort of situation there where there wasn't enough processing time. And so, I don't know, it's a bummer because I thought right there at that moment we had a chance to push that to go 5, and that point matters, win or lose. And so, yeah, super disappointing.
And especially with Jake back there and serving, I would say was the thing that he was doing at least the most confidently. Totally. And that in that moment, I think that hurt. That definitely hurt. After it all, like after the point went the other way, what did you tell the guys at that point? Because I bet they were still kind of steamy.
Well, they were steamy, so I didn't say anything. They made a couple of plays, and they were super fired up. It was just at that point we're down a couple, and gosh, that's as you know, late it makes a big difference. And Cody was playing well, and I don't know. I thought we had some room to work there with some of the way the guys were playing.
So in a tournament like this, and just kind of the whole landscape of national team volleyball now, you've got a very hard job. You have to manage a roster of 30 guys. You have to pick 14 guys to bring. You have to pick which 7 to start, all with like less than 24 hours in turnaround. And the world rankings change with every match. Like, that's difficult. But I think Brazil, it's fair to say that Brazil probably needed this game more than we did. But even still, like, what is the priority balance for you in the short term winning every match versus the long term of the entire summer of the entire Olympic quals process?
I think it's a really good question. And I don't know that I have a really definitive answer. I think all of us are trying to figure that out to some degree. You have these veterans that are going to play at a higher level, but if you keep playing them every single match, you're going to do long-term damage. And so trying to play the long game while understanding that the short game is having such a big impact.
Maybe bigger than it should, arguably.
I would argue that. And I would argue that there has to be some window of time where these matches affect world ranking and some window that doesn't. And whether maybe that's the first 2 years of a quad and the second 2 years in which we're in right now, I get it. But at some point we're going to have some realization, which I think all the players and coaches have, that the world ranking right now is so dynamic in every single match that it's forcing decisions that are not in the best long-term interest of our athletes. And so what are we going to do about that? I think there needs to be a humble conversation. Like the conversation I'm having over there was not humble at all. There's no like willingness to have some dialogue. There's obstinance. There's stubbornness. And until James from Bolt 6 came up and said, here it was, and we made a mistake, and I was like, James, thank you. Yeah. You know, like, thank you so much for absolutely just somebody just saying, okay, let's have a conversation, and here's what we need to do. Because you can't even solve a problem until you're willing to admit that there's a problem.
That it exists.
Right.
Is when the world ranking, that the whole new math was put in last year, was there ever a conversation between FIVB Volleyball World and coaches, players, international governing bodies, or do they just roll it out and you guys just had to learn how to deal with it on the fly?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know how they went through the process of determining that. I do know that after last summer, they did make some changes as to which tournaments would impact that, which was good because there was times when you had to make decisions about Pan Am Cups and some of these.
Which is ridiculous.
Right. And so we were forced to make some decisions about whether or not we would send a team at all because you can't even risk it. So therefore, you're not even giving your young players an opportunity to develop, and that's not right either. And so they did make that change, which is good.
Even I was looking at it today. I was looking at the rankings today because there has been a huge amount of movement. You guys came into the week 6th. Going into the game today, I think you were 3rd, but like maybe 2 points ahead of Brazil and 2 points behind Russia, who's moved up to 2nd despite not having played a match in 2 years. That doesn't seem right.
No, the fact that Russia's moving up, that's a problem.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, right. There needs to be another humble conversation there.
Well, we're never bored here at the Volleyball Nations League. We're never bored watching all that's gone on. It's been very interesting. I have to say, this is a hugely successful first week overall.
Yes.
Is that fair?
It is fair. I think we're coming out of this 3-1 and learned a lot, and now we have an opportunity to go and continue to grow this team and be better next week. Next week, there's no easy matches. You know, you come right out against Serbia, and then you got China, who I haven't seen in a while, and then you end up with Iran and Poland. So, I mean, it's another challenging week. So we're going to have to use this next week wisely.
Coach, I do not envy some of the things that I'll have to go through your head and some of the synthesis that you have to do with it all. It's a tricky job, but I think you handle it really well, all things considered, and I'm excited to see the rest of this summer and follow along with the guys' success. And thanks a lot so much for your time this week.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Okay. All right.
Travel safe this week, okay?
Okay.